does take a special level of
calling,
delusion.
Yeah.
where you believe, like, I'm like, bro, what I got, the way I'm making this impact, can't nobody else do it like me.
That is such a great way of saying it. It is a delusion. Like, our podcast is going to be the best podcast ever.
Ever.
Welcome, everyone. You're tuning into our first episode of Level Up with Larry and Leo, where we transform challenges into opportunities and dreams into reality. My name is Larry Williams, and today we have our very first episode lined up for you. We're thrilled to introduce our co-host, Leo, who will share his incredible journey from being a realtor to starting his brokerage firm and building a multi-million-dollar investment portfolio. So let's dive right in. Leo, tell us about your background and what inspired you to pursue your career in real estate.
Man, thank you. I'm so excited for what we're about to embark on. This journey is going to be incredible. So just a little bit about myself. I'm originally born in Haiti, came to America, immigrant's dream, when I was 7 years old. I always grew up seeing entrepreneurs without knowing that they were entrepreneurs. So my father was an entrepreneur, my mother was an entrepreneur, and we'll learn more about their stories as we, get to kind of know each other, us in the audience. So I always liked real estate, but I didn't like the idea of not having a steady paycheck. And when I was a young kid, I think around 19 years old, I went to a church service one night. And my soul wasn't right. A prophet came to the church that I was a member of as a young adult, and real estate was on my heart. And he said, somebody's been thinking about going into real estate, and rose my hand. And not to get too detailed, he gave a really strong prophecy. I was like, oh, cool, that's dope. And then I took that and I put it aside. Went to college, got a bunch of student debt, and started working a 9 to 5, initially a call center. Then it went to kind of a analyst position where I'm reviewing files and stuff. Just boring stuff, gaining weight, just sitting at a desk all day. And that company got turned, as the economy went up, the company continued to go down. And I saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And I spoke with my wife. I said, hey, and my wife has always been the catalyst to whatever I want to start. I'm more of the overthinker before I do stuff. So I said, hey, I'm thinking about, getting my real estate license. And I told her, or reminded her about, the prophecy. And she said, yeah, go ahead, do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. So I had some vacation time. I took some vacation time, took a week off, went to the class from Monday to Sunday, and then I called off on Tuesday and I went and took the exam. And I passed the exam, but I didn't know that just a couple months later, I was part of those rounds of layoffs. And I came home, we got laid off around lunchtime. I came home, told my wife, hey, it happened, what we thought was gonna happen, and now I went straight to my brokerage office. At the time, I was working for Century 21 and started making cold calls. And I didn't know how to answer the questions. A lot of times I would have to put people on hold to ask my broker, and I fell forward for months.
Let's you're getting a little ahead, but I think that's crazy though, that you received this prophecy years ago, and then all of a sudden you're in this pretty stable career, but you feel a prompting, right? That, I want to re-examine that prophecy that I received.
Yeah.
There was no real reason for you to go and pursue your real estate license to get that, but now you're like, you know what? For some reason, I'm gonna go get my real estate license. Yeah. And then right as you go, you take the vacation time, you go and you get your real estate license, you pass, still with your job, you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna ease into it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna dive right in. And then right after you get it, like right when you get started, all of a sudden now your number gets called and you are laid off, and only thing career wise that you have to pursue is real estate. And that's what leads me into this next question, because life has a way of pushing us towards our calling, right? Because God knows that we're not going to pursue it on our own. A lot of times He creates the conditioning that allows us to jump into what we're ultimately called for. That leads
But
me
yeah,
up
God
to
knows me. God knows me. God knows I'm not going to leave something safe for risk. As we continue, we'll talk about my risk aversion.
how did your real estate journey begin? Now that you're in it, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna put my energy here. Did you just jump in and start making millions? Like, how did that how did that go?
Oh man! So a lot of stuff was happening at the time. My mom was battling cancer, and I was just making calls. And I had a small severance from my employer, and I had 401k, and I had a little bit of savings. So we lived on that while
Jeez.
while I was pursuing it, and we still had bills. We still had a car payment at the time. We still had monthly things that we had to service to keep us going. So it went 6 months without a single dollar coming into the house outside of what we already had saved up. And God provided, man. God provided. I don't know how it happened, but God just made a way. I was out 50-hour weeks, just, putting my head down and just grinding and knowing that I got to put in my hours, right?
Yeah.
I got to put in my hours of work. I got to put in my hours to learn this craft. I got to put in my hours of rejection, which is something I didn't really face in my other path, and being okay with that, and reframing what rejection means to me. And I remember going to YouTube and finding podcasts like this one to encourage me to reframe what rejection is. It's like, okay, you could get rejected by a stranger, or you could feed your family. If you got to get rejected by 10 strangers in order for the 11th one to help you feed your family, go ahead and get those 10 rejections out the way, because somebody's going to see the value in what you're doing and what you're adding. And and that was my approach to real estate, is I'm adding value. And I'm not forcing you to get my service. I'm offering my service for those who need it. If you don't need it, there's no hard feelings, right? But if you need it, I think I'm going to do a better job than anybody else you're going to meet. And I guess that's part of my background in athletics. It's just, I know I'm going to put in the work to do the best job possible. So 6 months go by, and I'm at the office every day. I'm not just there 3 days a week. I'm at the office every day. Now that I'm home, I'm picking up and dropping off the kids, right? So I'll wake up, take the kids to school, go to the office, knock out some calls, do some paperwork, do some terrible videos, and and then I'll pick them up from school, drop them off at home, go back to the office. I did that for 6 months straight. And the times that I took off was to take care of my now dying mother. But yeah, bro, just grinding.
Was there ever a point where you're like, maybe I need to go reapply at some other career like I had before? Or like, did you deal with that type of thing, going to the office all the time, not seeing that immediate result?
I did put in a couple applications. Here's how crazy I was, right? I put in these applications asking for a salary that I know they wouldn't give somebody that's just, even though they see my resume, they see where I'm coming from, they see I'm coming from a sinking ship. So why would I offer this guy more than the people that are working here that's coming off a sinking ship? But that's what I asked for. And it was something that I tell my son that he has to have sometimes, is irrational confidence and be okay with the folks that don't see it. So this is like I was asking people. I was like, "Yeah, man, I need you to pay me $65,000 and a year." And you know the
It
manager
doesn't
that's
sound the
interviewing
same
me.
today as it must have back then.
Yeah. Like back then, it was like, "Woo, shoot!" And this was back in 2016, 2015. I'm asking, almost a decade ago. I'm asking for this amount, and the people interviewing me don't make this. Like I had one manager say, I don't even make 65. What are you talking about? I said, well, that's my asking price. That's what I need to come over here and work here, and I'll add value to your organization. But they weren't having it, bro. And for me, I can't even. It had to be God, because I wasn't discouraged. I wasn't discouraged by them not calling me back. I wasn't discouraged by getting rejected. And like manna fell from heaven. Someone called in, it was a sad thing, but it was a blessing. Somebody called in because I was at the office. I happened to pick up that call, and they wanted an agent who had passed away. And that agent was the one who sold them their house. And I picked up the phone. I said, hey, I could help you, and I knew nothing what I was doing. The whole time I was going back and forth to my broker. I said, I could help you. And turned out this guy was going through a terrible divorce. He had lost his dad. Brilliant engineer. Had fallen into a bad situation where he was addicted to drugs, going through depression, like hard drugs, like heroin.
Jeez.
So I got the listing from him and his estranged wife, and my job was to keep him healthy and alive during the listing until the property got sold. So bro, I'm driving to this guy's house. I'm making sure I'm talking to him. I'm bringing him pizza, right? And I'm not making any money, but I'm going to Pizza Hut. I'm going to Domino's. I'm going to Marco's. I'm picking up a pizza, and I'm bringing it to him because I know he hasn't eaten for like 3 or 4 days. Yeah, because that's just how the addict functions. And I'm like, hey, have you eaten? And I go and I check on the property to make sure that it's something that people could still go and see and show. I went in one time and said, yeah, man, I had a party over here and somebody stole my Rolex. I mean, this guy, this is in 2016, this guy was making over $400,000 a year.
Crazy.
He was making great money, lost his job, lost his wife, in danger of losing his health. When we went to sell the property, when we got it under contract, his mom wouldn't even let him move in with her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so me, I've always had a giving spirit, which sometimes has gotten me in trouble. I went ahead and I said, hey, bro, I'll pay for a week or two for you to stay in this hotel. This is before I got my check. This is me digging deeper into my savings to say, hey, look, go ahead, get a hotel, helping him move, helping him pack. He was giving stuff away like crazy. So that was my first listing and one of my first closings. And it just happened because I was in the right place at the right time, and that motivated me to say, okay, let's keep going.
So this was your first ever. You basically had to tap into your ministry gifts. Yeah,
100%. Like I was ministering to him. I brought him to men's Bible study. Right. So I spent the day with him. Brought him to men's Bible study, and got him something to eat. Got him hydrated. Brought him to men's Bible study, and then like we spent so long together. I think it was like a span of like 4 hours we spent together. That he told me, "Hey, Leo, I need my medicine. I got to get home." He was starting to withdraw off that stuff, and I was like, "Okay, okay." That's when wisdom has to step in, where somebody who's over spiritual be like, "God can deliver you right now." Nah, bro. Like this dude could die.
Right now.
This dude has been on hard drugs for months.
Yeah.
He ain't going cold turkey. He could flat out die in my car. No, we ain't doing that. Let me take you home. So, but yeah, I was ministering to him, providing him food, providing friendship, talking to him, letting him know what's, how we could better help him. But yeah, there's
Did he know that you were selling for him was like your first listing?
No.
I mean,
it was my first on this earth, but in my mind, I had already done this. I had already done this several times over. No, me, no. I'm a pro.
Are you still in contact with him today?
No. I lost contact with him probably like 6 months afterwards. So during the time of the listing, I had him check into a rehab center, local here, and he spent about a month there. Actually, that was the month where somebody came in, liked the property, put in a contract, but then he got out. He was trying to stay clean, and I was trying to help him stay clean, but I think like 2 weeks after, he relapsed, and I told him to go back in, and he said, yeah, but I don't have any money. I said, bro, okay, you don't have any money. You just got some money from the sale of your house.
Yeah.
Use that money and they have other programs to help you. I think he went back in one more time. The sad part is the last time I heard from him was a voicemail that he left me crying saying, hey, Leo, this might be my last time talking to you. And I just want to thank you. But you probably won't hear from me again. I pray to God that he didn't OD or anything, but that was my first ever listing, and one of my first sales ever.
Man, so what a crazy start, and otherwise very fruitful career of being a realtor. Obviously, that's not going to be how every listing goes.
Yeah,
that's not going to be something ever put into any real estate training on how to be a realtor.
Yeah.
But it shows the commitment to the success. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be successful, whether it's putting somebody into a hotel, whether it's taking care of them, just saying, you know what, we got to get this first deal in. I've been doing this for 6 months. Like, I got to find some success in it. What did it feel like when you finally got that check? Like, what was that feeling when you finally received the reward for all of that work?
So that property didn't close until after my mom passed. So my mom passed in November, and it closed in January. And the sad part is, I left my mom's bedside to come to Tampa to do something with the listing because I still have to work. And that's when I got the call, and I was already on the way to the listing. And me wanting to be a man of my word, instead of calling him and say, hey, I can't make it, I went there, spent a couple hours with him, and then I drove to Naples, to the hospice that my mom was staying at. Getting that check was more sweet than bitter, but it had some, bitterness attached to it. But I celebrated. I took my wife to dinner, and I said, that month, that January, we had 2 closings. And I was so happy that, man, thank God, like all this sacrifice work. Now we have a little bit of money that we could put back into savings. We'll put back here. We could pay some things. God has just been good, bro. That first closing, when I saw that check, and I was like, ooh, that was big money then. It's still big money now.
Yeah.
I took a picture of the check because it's the biggest single deposit that I had gotten from work. So yeah, that was the first. And definitely not the last. That told me, hey, you're on a good path. If you continue to do 2 of these a month for the next, whatever years, your family will be all right.
And that began to spiral. So all of that work that you had done for that 6 months rather, was not in vain. A lot of times we feel like, because we were trained in sort of this idea of having a job where you have like a really consistent income, we kind of bring that mindset over into the business world where we feel like business success is linear, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's not really how it works. And you have to deal with the emotions of knowing, even though I'm not seeing fruit from this, I'm planting the seeds that will eventually turn into a harvest. But just because
Yeah.
we don't see the harvest right away, that's when our mental is really tested, because we don't really have the immediate results that we're looking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. You
And
gotta.
over that time period, you begin to see, you know, a very good, what would you say, like an average of two closings a month or so, from
Yeah,
that,
right
from
around there.
January all the way
Yeah,
leading up.
yeah. So my first full year, I got like rookie of the year from my company. I already had the work ethic, and I already had some things that even before I got coaching, which I eventually did to raise my level to go to level up
Yeah.
in what I was doing. I already had some standard operating procedures, some stuff that I have to do on a daily basis. So yeah, I did that. One closing turned to two, turned to four, turned to eight, turned to 12. And you always have to, in sales, you only eat what you kill. So you have to continue to grind, and you have to say, hey, all right, Uncle Sam's gonna take their part. You're gonna have a little piece, and then your marketing's gonna have a little piece, so you could keep your funnel full, and so you don't hit those big drops, and it's gonna ebb and flow, but it's not gonna be huge ebbs and flows, and it was the best decision. Not saying that I didn't have to remind myself and remind God, yo, you use that prophet to talk to me, man. I mean, like, come on, things are dry. My cupboards it's getting empty. But it's just having that. Hey, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm supposed to do.
So obviously, perseverance and faith played a significant role in your journey. Tell us about the turning point when you decided to start your brokerage firm, Curb and Keys.
I went to Century 21. I told the broker owner there. I said, "Hey, I know you got a lot of agents, and this is me talking again." I said, "I know you got a lot of agents, but I'm not an agent. I'm a business owner." And just to think about that conversation at the point where I was at, like I knew nothing. Like I didn't know a contract. Like I didn't know how to write a contract. I didn't know anything. I knew the life cycle of purchasing a home because I've done that, but I didn't know anything in terms of what the job entailed. But I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm a business owner. I'm not just an agent. So I don't see myself as an agent." So when I was negotiating, I already negotiated from that standpoint where they would start other agents at a certain level. I said, like they're giving that over there. I need this. And they said, "Okay, all right, do your first one and then we'll talk." Right after my first one, before it even closed, I called them. I said, "Hey, I need to be up." And after my second one, I said, "Hey, you need to max me out, because if you don't max me out, there's greener pastures." And I kept this saying in the back of my mind: you don't get paid what you deserved. You get paid what you have the leverage to negotiate. So I used every bit of leverage that I had, and I maxed out on my split, which is, for those that aren't in real estate, your broker keeps a percentage of what you make for whatever for the advice they provide, for supervision they provide, for the systems that they allow you to use, stuff like that. So yeah, I negotiated and went up in the company pretty quickly, and then from there I said, okay, so what's next? The one time my wife told me no was when we took out a life policy on my mom, which paid out, and I was like, hey, I want to jump into investing. And not knowing she just went through like 6 to 8 months of just lean months. And now I got a little bit of money. I got some closings and I got some things under contract that are coming in. So I want to jump in. I said, man, I got this quadruplex right here in Zephyr Hills. I could grab, right here in one of the suburbs of Tampa. I could grab and we could rent that thing out. And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. I understand. We just went on spaghetti and meatballs and rice and for a while. I'm okay. Let's cool off. But that bug of investing was already like, that's the next step. Like, okay, this is one of these careers where you do want to get high on your own supply. You want to invest in real estate and not just help out investors. So that was always like a plan, but we were just not ready for it because our second son was young, under a year old. So I got a 1-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, and now you're jumping into a new career, and now you want to add another thing to it? No, sir. No, sir. She said, no, sir. So I was like, okay. Okay. Cool. But that time eventually came in 2019, 2020, where I dove in and said, okay, it was sparked by a conversation with my oldest. He said, Dad, you don't take risks. I forgot what we were talking about. And he said, Dad, you never take risks. You always play it safe. And out of the mouth of babes, I was like, this young man is right. I hate risk. I hate risk. And God knows how to deal with me. So that's why God had to kick me out of the job to get me into real estate at the first place. And I said, okay. So I took the risk and I, took out loans, started flipping properties because I already knew the business. I knew my numbers and was very successful at it. And, we haven't stopped since then. I'm always looking to level up in those two streams of both retail real estate, brokerage, and investing.
That's very inspiring. Beyond just beginning your brokerage, you were able to, in a very short period of time, you managed to be able to build a multi-million-dollar investment portfolio. Can you share some of the insights into your investment strategy?
Okay. When I went in to invest, I know that I had to buy to make the win. So I couldn't buy hoping that the market would grow. I had to buy if the market stayed the same or the market went down, I could still have room to make some profit. So I bought my properties near 60 to 65% of after repair value. So I had one property that was a townhome that was once in an HOA, but the HOA dismantled, and the townhome it was gutted. It didn't even have running water. It didn't have. It did have electricity. It didn't have AC. It had nothing. And I got it for $80,000, and I put in another $120,000 into it. But I sold it for $260 and made a little profit. But I knew that even if when I went in and I bought it for $80,000, other people were scared to buy it for that price. Other people were like, oh man. But I saw the numbers, and I always have two exit strategies. When I enter into it, I say, okay, first goal is to flip it. If I can't flip it, can I, what they call BRR, where I can buy it, rehab it, rent it, and then refinance it. So 3 R's. So in order to refinance it, they typically allow you to take about 75% of the appraised value back out of the house. So I knew if worst comes to worst, I could pull out 80%, and I think it would have appraised for more than $260, and The buyer didn't share the appraisal with me, but I believe it did appraise for more than 260. But I would be able to take out 80% of that. So I'd pay off my debtors, I'd pay off everything, at the very least break even, and then have income coming in from the renters. So that's my marketing strategy. And when I had a neighbor on my street, and I've been in the same place for 12 years. And they were very kind when we first moved into the neighborhood. She lost her husband to cancer. And it was, she knew that my mom battled cancer. And again, it goes back to people buy from people, not necessarily from businesses. So she reached out to me. She said, Leo, I'm getting all these calls from people who want to buy my house cash and stuff. And I know you're in the business. Can you help me? I said, yes, I'll help. So I gave her an offer that would have been lower if someone else had bought it. But my goal with that property was always to keep it. So I could do that. And it may take me longer to make my money back, but this is a property that I plan to keep for 10, 15, 20 years. I have no plans to sell it. So I know that I'll make that money back. So I paid her a little bit more, got the house, complete gut, almost to the level of the townhouse. Complete gut, new roof, new AC, new everything. Bathrooms, kitchen, drywall, ceiling, everything. Walls were just, it was terrible. But I was also able to help her buy another house that was smaller, because this house was big and needs a lot of maintenance on the property. So I helped her there by buying her property. That helped me. And I helped her by, she had money in her pocket after the closing, after the purchase. She had a lower payment, and she had, I think, like 25, 30,000 left in her bank account that she could tap into. And she was still working. So now she had room to breathe. So yeah, it was great to do good and to make a profit. So that's been my angle, is always relationships over revenue, and always have two exit strategies when I enter in. And if one of them doesn't work, then I won't buy it. Like if I can't see myself selling it as a flip or refinancing it, then I just won't buy it, because I want to be able to navigate whatever the market is.
That's awesome. As we wrap up our conversation today, you've had an incredible journey in a very short period of time. You've been able to build a very successful real estate career. But before we wrap up, do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners who may be aspiring entrepreneurs or real estate enthusiasts?
Yeah, so me, as you heard from my story, I'm not as much on the side of jump and grow your wings on the way down.
Yeah.
And I do acknowledge that sometimes that has to happen, right? For me, God had to push me off the ledge for me to grow my wings on the way down. Some people, you can transition from your 9 to 5 to being an entrepreneur from 6 to 10 and on the weekends. So what I would say is, pursue your passion and try to add value to people, whatever it is you're doing. It could be in real estate, it could be in somewhere else, it could be t-shirts, it could be a clothing brand. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you really believe that it's going to add value in some way to people, pursue it. Yeah. And the money will come. But if you pursue it for the money, you're going to get discouraged, and you're probably going to quit. Because I saw a lot of realtors quit because they weren't making the money, so they went and got a job making $15, $20 an hour, because it gets discouraging if you don't have something more pulling you or pushing you to wake up every day to do what you need to do, to plant those seeds and water those seeds, and not see anything popping out the ground for weeks or months. It can be discouraging if your whole goal is to eat off of that seed that you just put into the ground. So what I would say is the regret from not trying is so much more than how you would feel about failing. Because when you fail, you learn something. Like I failed And I took lessons. I had properties where I went in with the wrong people, and we'll learn about it later on. Disaster, major failure, lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But I learned, and it's not going to happen again. So sometimes you learn from these losses that we take, but you have to start. I'm throwing a lot of sayings out there, but you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So, like we're starting this venture right now. We're trying to impact, and some of the episodes that they may not see had bad audio. It had bad video. It's part of the process, and it's part of failing. And we're gonna have some crazy comments, and we're gonna have some, okay, that's fine. That's part of the process, and embrace it and welcome it when it happens, and say, okay, yeah, I knew this marker would be on the road, so I know I'm on the right path.
I think, like, I'm listening to you and all the things that you're saying, and there's so much of it that resonates with me because being an entrepreneur myself, I understand that. But I feel like sometimes as entrepreneurs, we think everyone thinks the way that we think. It's so crazy. Like today, anywhere that I go, like to a store or to an office, I go in there and I'm like, wow, people still do this stuff. Like people still work in offices. People still work regular jobs, and they're in their mind doing what we do is so like out there and so crazy. But like when you've been doing it so long, it's normal. Yeah. At first, it's scary. It's like it's frightening. But after a while, you become so accustomed to it. You're just like, yeah, I just invested in this property. Yeah, I just sold a multi-million-dollar house. Yeah, I just did that. Like, it's just, this is what I do. This is the air that I breathe. This is what I live in. And I know I said that was our last part, but like, I feel like even going back into the calling aspect of it, like you felt a real call from God into this space. Do you feel like that also was a key thing that sort of allowed you to get accustomed into this new way of living? Yeah.
So there were times I had to talk to God and remind myself that I thought I was reminding God, but I had to remind myself like of what was said to me. And I won't say everything that the prophet said, but he said that you would have no lack, that you would lack for nothing, you would need for nothing. And I would present that to God. And because there's some needs that came up. And when I go into these places and I see people working, and I'm thankful for the 9-to-5 employee, I'm grateful. Yeah. And there's a space for that. Like, if all the doctors said, nah, man, I'm starting my own hospital. Like, come on. Come on now. So
all the teachers said, I'm starting my own school.
My own school, yeah. Like, my own academy. Like, it does take a special level of
calling.
Delusion.
Yeah.
where you believe, like, I'm like, bro, what I got, the way I'm making this impact, can't nobody else do it like me.
That is such a great way of saying it. It is a delusion. Like, our podcast is going to be the best podcast ever.
ever. Like, bar none. It's like you have that. You have to have that approach, and in order to overcome the obstacles that will no doubt come up, you have to believe you have something to offer the world. That if you don't break through and offer it to the world, that you're doing the world a disservice. that you're doing your family a disservice. Like you have to have a huge why. You have to have a why so big that it feels like, yo, I'm cheating somebody if I'm not. So somebody talking about real estate, I'm like, hey, let me school you to this. Let me tell you this, and not because I think I know everything, but because I know what I have to offer is gonna be some value, and I give value away for free all the time. Yeah. Like I got people that call my phone that I haven't done one transaction with. Yep. That call me on a semi-regular basis. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? And I'll give them sound advice. I'll spend 10, 15 minutes with them on the phone talking strategy. But I don't make any money from it. Yeah. And my goal is relationship over revenue. I could plant here and reap over there. Like that's biblical, that's churchy, right? Yeah. That's my upbringing, but I really believe that that's how the world works. That's how the universe is responding to us sowing and giving value. And you know, I've done rentals, which rentals don't pay anything, right? I did a rental and it paid, I think, like a couple $100, but I worked with this customer and she bought 3 properties with me in excess of, what was it? Like 1.7. Yeah. So because I chose to take her small rental, because she was new to Tampa, she wanted to rent something, and the rental agent at my office was like, "Hey, do you want to show this property for me? It doesn't pay much. I think it was like $200." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I talked to her. And she said, "Man, you've been so great. In about a year, I think I'm gonna be ready to buy. I'll call you, and and then it's all about building the relationship for that year. I don't disappear. I'm hitting you up. Yeah. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. All of that throughout the year to build the relationship. And then when that year came, boom, bought a house. Then about 6 to 8 months later, she said, "Hey, I'm ready to invest. I got some money put away. I want to get an Airbnb." "Oh, I'm already in the space. Let's do it." Yeah. Boom. "Hey, my first Airbnb is working so great. I want to get another one. Help me identify and buy one." "All right, let's do it." Boom. And, that's the level of delusion that, I could help you. Yeah. I could help you. And it does go back to, my background in ministry is you pour into people. And sometimes you see nothing for it. You receive nothing from it. And you have to be open to doing that. Even when you're starting a business, you'll spend time with people. I've bought people lunches, taken them out to lunch, breakfast, and they didn't do one transaction with me. Spent hours with them. Spent hours away from my family with them, showing properties. Didn't end up in a transaction. But I've also had calls from people saying, "Hey, I want to put in an offer on this $1.2 million house, and I've already seen it. You just need to put the offer in together. Just be my agent. I've already seen it. We don't need to see it. I just want you to represent me because I know you'll do me right." Yeah. And so that's why I say you invest and you plant seeds, and sometimes you reap them elsewhere. Man, this is the first time I ever heard it phrased that way, a special type of delusion. It's so true. Like, we are so delusional, like, in a good way. It's I don't know. Is it like we want our lives to feel like they have significance? It's in one way, it's like there is a selfish part of it, right? Like where you're wanting to gain wealth. You want to gain legacy even, right? Yeah. We both have children. We both have families. Yeah. But there's also this need, and I have it too, where like I want to feel like I made a positive impact on the people that I was able to serve. Yeah. And that's sort of that drive
that keeps you going. And if you don't have that, it's probably best you don't get into any type of entrepreneurial space. Like, you need a certain level of delusion where you feel
100%.
like you're able to do something for somebody else that no one else can.
Nobody. Bro, how many podcasts are out there? But we think we got a message, bro. When you combine church and business and from our backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're black men, we're married, families, faithful. Like, bro, there's a million podcasts out there, and that's underestimated. There's probably a million just on Spotify alone.
Right.
But we're saying, level up. You get a little level up in your life. You get a little level up in your life, in your weekly listening to podcasts. I will boost up your business, whatever it is, whatever you're going to get. You're going to get encouragement. You're going to get some laughs. You're going to get some instruction. You're going to get something from this podcast that nobody else is offering, because our perspective is original. Our perspective is fresh, and we are admitting we're a little delusional. And you should be too.
It's true. It is so true. We are very delusional. My wife reminds me all the time how delusional I am. And I have conversations with her all the time, and like, she just looks at me like, fam. Okay, I get it. That's an original phrase. I don't think you heard. I don't think you've heard that. You might have. I'm like, I never heard it said that way, but that is so true. You have to be delusional to be able to stick with it, because it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah.
And there is the faith element that we're both going to dig deeper into.
That I think is a very part of faith is being a little delusional. The evidence of things not seen, like you ain't seen it. That's what you ain't seen it.
I think we really started off this journey on a real positive, because we both said when we get started, we want to share our stories. Yeah. Right? We want to build trust, because we want to build an authentic community, an authentic digital community, because we're not celebrities, right? We're normal guys. We both have ministry backgrounds. We both are entrepreneurs. We're both trying to build families when we did not have family modeled to us. We're trying to be fathers. When we didn't have, we didn't have father, like we didn't have that traditional father presented to us, and we're literally just trying to figure it out. And we want to give you an authentic and real perspective that, in some way, we're delusional enough to believe that this is going to be beneficial to you. And to our own surprise, we can give numerous examples of how people have come to us and told us that we have given them something that they couldn't have gotten somewhere else in our own 100%. Business.
And, bro, that's why I'm like, lean into it. Like, I have a son who has aspirations of playing high school and college ball and stuff. And I've told him, I said, bro, you gotta be a little delusional, Leo. You gotta be. You gotta be a little delusional. And when I see it in him, I want to correct it. As a father, I want to say, hey, let's be real, be realistic, be down to earth. But I stop myself. Like, there's enough of getting beaten down by the world to be realistic. There's enough people pulling you down saying you ain't gonna do it, it ain't gonna work, I don't even try it. There's enough of that. So you have to be delusional enough to say, oh, I heard you. It just don't matter to me. Right? And whether it's ministry or entrepreneurship, when you want to start something that's bigger than you gotta be a little delusional. To think that what you have to offer is better. Like Bezos said, "Yo, I'm gonna ship books. People don't need to go to the library. Come to me, and I'll send you the books."
Yeah.
Really? You gonna sell books online?
Mm-hmm.
But look what it turned into.
Yeah.
Like, so this little podcast, we're gonna give you some bits on family, on our ministries, on our businesses, and our mindset. But the first thing I think we learned from this podcast is you got to be a little delusional. You got to be the first partaker.
It's so funny too how it bleeds into even our fathering. Like I could think of my daughter. We just put her into a new school this year. She's about to finish up. We're at one private school that we had some issues with, sort of the cultural vibe, and we can get more into that.
Let me stop you right there. Your daughter's in private school, bro.
Yeah.
Come on. Okay, go ahead. I'm about to get churchy.
She did a talent show a few months ago, and she performed one of the songs from Encanto at the talent show. She had to learn all the lines, right? And she went in there and we were practicing with her all the way up until the talent show. She's just in there learning all of the lines. And the thing about her is honestly, she's a natural entertainer. She has this natural entertaining thing about her, where even if she's not if she was to be in the entertainment space, it's not going to be because she had an out of the world singing gift, out of the world musical gift, and out of the world dancing gift. It's more of a combination of just her. It's really her personality. She has a personality that just grabs people.
Magnetism.
Yeah, it's and everywhere we go with her, bro. Everywhere we go with her, everyone says, "Oh my gosh, there's something about her." Everywhere, literally, bro. Every single way where we go, it's not because she has she's just an academic. It's not because anything that's just concrete
that you could.
It's just a magnetism where she shows up and she just draws from people. And she does this talent show. She performs and everything. The guy comes up, the host of the talent show comes up afterwards. She did a good job. She had the whole crowd into it. And then the guy comes in, he says how good of a job she grabs the mic from him and basically starts preaching. And she just said, "Man, I'm a new kid at this school, and I overcame my fear to come up here," and just everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy!" And everyone's looking at us, and and everyone's like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And the head of the school, the principal, and she's new at the school. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to make her one of our marketing sponsors or something because of just who it is." But I say all of that to say I feel like even in our fathering, we're giving our kids permission to be delusional that they can make an impact.
Yeah.
Right?
Those are the people though, bro. Those are the people. And that comes from us being blessed enough to get out of the survivor mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm in survivor mode, I can't radiate because me radiating might get me kicked out, and I'll lose something. So I can't really be my full self. So that's one of the blessings of being an entrepreneur and being the sons and daughters of entrepreneurs. Is you have permission to be yourself, and you have permission to step out and not feel like that'll be the end, and you have the permission to fail, and knowing that failure is not final.
When we're growing up, we're told, you have to get good grades, you have to go to college, you have to get a good job. Like, that's what it means. Neither of us grew up with entrepreneurs who allowed us. Like, now I don't look at grades the same way that my parents did with me. I'm like,
No.
okay, we want to keep trying, we want to work hard, but I'm not going to dictate your success based off of what someone else said that you're good or
Yeah.
not good at. Like, you can determine your own destiny. You can forge your own path in a million different ways.
Can I make a confession right here? Just between you, I, and the audience. When people post their kids' report cards online,
Oh God.
I want to say some things. I ain't gonna say it right here because this is our first episode. We don't want to turn people off right now. But I'm like, okay, celebrate their success. I'm good. I'm good with that. But so, just to give you a tap into my thinking. So, our son, our oldest, came home with a grade that we find unacceptable. He had a D. And I said, I'm cool if the D is the best you could get. But I know that it's not the best you could get because you just made honor roll.
Right.
You just made honor roll. Like, this tells me you're not trying. And that's the one thing that's unacceptable in this house.
Yeah.
Is not trying. You could try and fail. You could try and be average or below average. But if you don't try, so guess what? No media. He got grounded. But I didn't ground him because of the grade.
Right.
I grounded him because he wasn't trying.
Listen.
So like in their schools, because I went to a school in a migrant town, and I was doing excellent, and then I transferred to the main city in that county that was vibrant, and I was in one of the best schools in that county, if not the best school. So that second half of the semester, first half I was in the migrant town, second half I was in the new city. Bro, I struggled.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't for lack of trying. Because what the standard was over there is different than what the standard is here.
Yep.
So it took me a semester to adjust to what their expectation was. But I already knew how to work and learn. So, and that's why I tell my youngest, I said, you're in school to learn how to learn. A lot of the stuff is memorization.
Mm-hmm.
But you just need to establish the process of learning and how to
That
try.
works for you.
Yeah. And trying.
Yeah.
And being okay with failing, but always trying. So yeah, I do give a side eye whenever I see a report card.
We'll get into all of this. Like, I know we're trying to leak a lot of content, and fam, listen, you're gonna have to ride with us in order to get some more of this, because we have a lot more content. But that's it for today's episode with Level Up with Larry and Leo. If you enjoy this episode, subscribe.
Click the notification button, man. Come on now.
We are literally
Let's build this
everywhere.
community.
We're literally everywhere. We're posting this all over internet. If it's a social media, we're there. So subscribe. If it's on all podcasts, everything that you can subscribe, we are there, and we want you to follow us, and lock in with
wherever
us.
you listen to your podcast, man. Tap in with us. Hey, allow us to grow this thing up. Like, we're gonna add some value. We're gonna give you some free jewels that you're not gonna have to taste the failure that we had to taste to bring to you. So ride with us, man. Ride with us. Give us a shot. Give us 7 episodes. After 7 episodes, if we ain't vibing, we all right letting you go. Give us 7. That's Scout's number.
For more inspiring stories and valuable insights, a special thank you also to our sponsors, Next Level Media Marketing and Curb and Key Realty, both of our businesses. We are sponsoring.
You got to be the first partaker. Didn't we just say that? Right? You got to be the first partaker. And we're our first partaker. We're our first sponsor.
So thank you for our own businesses for making these episodes possible. And thank you again for tuning in, everyone. Remember, no matter where you are in your journey, you could level up and achieve your dreams. Until next time. Peace.
Boom. Peace.